Now, welcome back to part 3 of my conversation here in Cappin, County Limerick with a great man, Billy Maguire. Billy, just before we go, just before we go to the present state. Yes, I have it here. Perfect.
Right, you have it that now.
I have.
Because that's what it's all about. That's
Yes.
the sovereign Dáil government, or the will and wish of all the people of the 32 counties. And that's what I want to give the oath of allegiance to all those politicians.
And
to
that's
that sovereign.
actually the way
And then
it
you
should be.
don't owe any money.
Right. Yes.
And all that money, all that should be going to hospitals, to schools, to houses, and to the people, rather than going to being sent off for British war.
And even our national debt.
We have no national debt, the Sovereign Republic of Ireland. We're the only country in the world, the only state that doesn't have a debt. We must be unique.
And we must be. Our national debt is over 200 billion.
It's
at the moment.
205 billion.
And we're paying 8.5 billion every year in interest.
Yeah, but I mean, that's madness. What are you doing that for? It's a sham, a scam, and a racket.
Well,
and it's fraud. And
serious questions now
have to be answered. Now, my next one is on the weekend.
Yes.
Drew Harris, the Garda Commissioner, came out and he accused Mary Lou and Sinn Féin of that they're run by the IRA.
The IRA, yes.
Now, we went to Vaughan's Hotel.
Correct.
And we bought Vaughan's Hotel.
Yes.
That was the headquarters. That's where that election came out of, and that's where Michael Collins, De Valera, and all those, the head were there. That's where they were inside the vault. That's what we bought for. And those tunnels underneath that you could go all over.
Correct.
We did that with another program. But he's not correct in that. The first thing I would ask Drew Harris, what oath of allegiance have you given to the state?
Right.
Is it to the Sovereign Republic of Ireland? By the will and wish of all the people of the 32 counties? Or is it to the Free State? And I told you it was the oath of allegiance that Collins had and De Valera and all those gave in the first Sovereign Dáil. We read it out.
Yes, that's right.
To the Sovereign Dáil government, the Sovereign Dáil courts, and to the War of Independence as a defence force. And, or is it to the Free State that was imposed by King George V and the British government and the Crown Forces on the 6th of December 1921 to pay for Britain's war? Which is it? He has to give an oath. Or is it maybe he doesn't give any oath, like the politicians?
Maybe there's no oath.
Maybe. And what about those judges that are taking that case to Europe?
That's right, yes.
Where are they
the Supreme Court.
Well, what oath do they give? And when you go into court, you should ask the court clerk, what oath did you give? Is it to the Free State that owns
I don't think they know.
Or is it to the Sovereign Dáil government that doesn't owe any money? And Drew Harris should be asked. Now, in Vaughan's Hotel, on those first and second Dáil, because that was all part of our independence on the 21st of January 1919, the IRA gave their oath of allegiance to that Sovereign Dáil government. In case nobody sees it, that's it.
No, it's coming out very well, yes.
And that's what they gave their oath of allegiance. So, the only place the IRA can say the war is over is in Vaughan's Hotel, 29 Parnell Square and Granby Row.
Right.
And that's going back to our 32 county mandate and that election by...
Can I ask you, Billy, in your own educated opinion, why did Drew Harris, a very highly educated man, huge responsibility as Garda Commissioner...
Yeah, absolutely.
Why did he make a statement like that? Does he have information that the IRA are still influencing and overseeing the present-day Sinn Féin? Or was that politically orchestrated by other parties?
He'll have to answer that. I couldn't answer that for him.
Yes.
But what I'm asking him is, and he was a member of MI5, right?
That's correct, yes.
Well, if he was a member of MI5, hasn't he already given an oath of allegiance to the Crown of England?
He had to, sure.
And how can he give an oath of what has he given his oath of allegiance to here? Is it to the Sovereign Dáil government by the will and wish of all the people, which I've just showed you?
Yes.
Which is our sovereignty, all 32 counties.
Yes.
Or is it to the Free State under the Crown of England?
Yes.
That question has to be answered.
It does.
I'm not, and I have no animosity to him. I don't know him or anything else. But he has to be asked. And those judges that are taking that case to Europe, where are you getting your sovereign authority from?
Right.
is it from the Free State or that oath of allegiance that you
Yes,
gave to,
yes.
or is it the oath of allegiance, or you gave an oath of allegiance to the sovereign Dáil government? It has to come, and this is what's wrong in Europe, and because we're the only country in Europe. When you go into court, John, don't you have to take an oath?
You do? Yes.
And you have to take it. And how is it that our politicians, the Garda Síochána, our military, and
Public servants in different areas.
the
Yes.
judiciary, they don't take any.
Yes.
I rang Leinster House and
Yes.
asked what oath of allegiance do they give the government to the state,
Yes.
and there was consternation there.
Right.
They said they don't give any. That is a scandal. You see America at the moment,
Correct.
and you see, and he's accused that Russia interfered with their election.
Yes.
And what about Britain interfering with our election?
Well, you see,
that seems
same
to be all
parallel.
right. Huh?
Same parallel.
You're very same. And we seem to be only third-class people that don't matter, and we don't count. But that's a democratically elected Dáil
It is,
by
yes.
the will and wish of all the people
Of the 32 counties.
And
Yes.
you see the sovereignty and everything, and
Correct.
done properly. And then what Britain did, they interfered with them, and still interfering with the whole place.
Okay.
And still we're paying them money. And, I mean, look, they have to focus up now, because, look, it's your children and your grandchildren are going to be paying for this.
That's disgraceful.
And that is
Yes,
a disgrace.
absolutely.
And all that money, we would have the best hospital care in the world. We would have
We
the
should
best.
have.
We should have
Yes.
housing. We should have the best, for our
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And we can have it if people would only stand up and ask the question. And I as you know, on the 21st of January,
Yes.
I turned that seal, and my
Yes.
family have done it for over 101 years.
Well done.
And
Yes.
we weren't allowed into the Mansion House again this year. We had to do it outside the door. We had between 400 and 500 people, I'm told, outside the door. And we do it at 12 o'clock in the day. But it was in the cabinet room and then the round room. But we were asked by Dublin City Council for 10,000 to turn that sovereign seal in the round room. Sure, we couldn't pay. We were only volunteers, people giving their time and everything for it.
€10,000 you'd have to pay.
We'd have to pay to go into the round room and turn the sovereign seal if we had to. And of course we could. But Mary Lou McDonald,
Yes.
she had rented the room. I presume she rented the room.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted the link with the first sovereign Dáil government.
Yes.
And that's what she wanted. And rightly so. Right?
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yes.
She's correct in that.
Yes.
And and anyway, at 11 o'clock when she was coming out of the round room.
Yes.
And we met her. We greeted each other and on Happy Independence Day. And
Very
all
good.
this, you know.
Yes. All right.
And she said, Billy, will you come into the round room? Because they were taking photographs outside the horse and
Yes.
carriage and the proclamation.
Okay.
And I went in with them. She had maybe 400 people in the round room.
Okay.
But I would have
But
liked
that
her.
was great recognition of you and the IRB.
Well, I mean, that's where they came out of.
Yes.
And
She's aware of that.
Well, she's aware of it now because there was probably 400 or 500 people on the forecourt
Yes.
of the Mansion
Mansion House, yes.
who would love to have gone in to see the round room, but she
Yes.
never allowed in to see it.
Right.
And she would, but anyway, we went in anyway, and then at 12 o'clock was ours, 11 o'clock was hers in the round
Okay.
room, and she was in out of the cold and the weather and everything else. But that's the link. But I want Mary Lou, and I wrote her to if she gave that oath of allegiance to Dáil Éireann, which
Yes.
they're all shouting about now,
Right.
and to the Dáil Éireann courts, nobody can put the finger on Sinn Féin then.
No.
And we don't want any violence on that. We only want the welfare of our people. And we have the money, we have everything
Which should
else.
be paramount in successive
it
governments
should be.
over the years.
Oh, and all those who would enter Leinster House would then have to give their oath of allegiance to the sovereign. And then they're accountable to you. You can ask them, how much money did you spend? This vulture funds, they shouldn't be tolerated in the
No.
country.
No.
And
It's an absolute
And
disgrace.
the people are back sovereign again, and that's what's important.
Yes.
And look, we have no animosity with Britain or anybody. Or
Good
you
God,
or
no.
anybody else.
No,
We
no.
don't take-
No.
But we want to be
But
part
we
of
want to
that.
get our basics right.
We want to get it, and we don't want propaganda, lies, deception, and fraud.
Well, it has got to stop.
It has to stop,
has to
and
stop,
it has to
yes.
stop now. And look, I said about why you have to give your oath of allegiance. And that's what happened to Collins. That's why he was executed. He had already given it to the sovereign Dáil Éireann government, the sovereign Dáil Éireann courts and the war. And then he had to give it to the Crown of England. And that's, you can't give it to two. I'd like to ask you, he's here. Did he give his oath of allegiance to the Crown of England? And did he give it to the sovereign Dáil Éireann government?
I don't know.
And it'd be nice to hear what he says.
It would be. Let's put that question.
And I think you should put that question on.
Certainly. Let's get it out there into the airways.
Well,
Billy,
we've done enough for today.
I'll tell you, I'm exhausted because I'll tell you why. I have so much information and so much anger over the way we have been duped in successive governments over decades and decades and more decades. So let's get this out there in our 3 different interviews with Billy Maguire. But
Yes.
Billy, thank you so much indeed. You're a
very
godsend,
welcome,
a jewel of information, and let's see where this road takes us, as they say in the Republic, as the crow flies. From all of us here in Kappa in County Limerick, with Billy Maguire and his beautiful dog,
Lotta, that's Lotta.
Lotta. Well, he's a good luck charm.
No, do you want to be seen? There you are now,
yes. You're on film
Lotta.
now.
Yeah, you're film star, yes.
So from myself, John Prendergast, a very sincere Gurrid Míle Mágat, August Lawn, back with you again shortly.